Good morning, guys. Um, it is day 34 of Flippin' Live. Going to talk about some rare books today, so let's get going. Flippin' Live, Flippin' Live, Flippin' Live, Flippin' Live, Flippin' Live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' Live, Flippin' Live, Flippin' Live, we're Flippin' Live. Okay, guys, good morning. It is day 34. It is Friday. Friday is here. June, what is it? June 5th? Is it June 5th? 2020. Boy, the weeks really fly, I gotta tell you. Um, was it yesterday that I was, at the end of the video, I was asked, live stream, I was asking about how the sales, or if you had seen sales go down on eBay for you. And then, or in the morning at least, I was asking that. And then throughout the day, I actually ended up having some eBay sales. Uh, and it's just funny how that happens. How you just, that's the thing about reselling. You just, whether it's Amazon or whether it's eBay, you just never know how things are gonna go. So anyway, just a side note. Um, so if you are new to my channel or if you're watching this in the future, I've been, just a little background, I've been reselling books on Amazon first and then added eBay a few years later, since 2014. So relatively long, but the topic I want to just talk about a little bit today, or we can dive in together. Hopefully more people join so that we can talk about it uh, in the chat, but is rare and collectible books. And, I am just starting to learn about these types of books for sure. I don't know that much. I have sold some. But when I say rare, I mean, talking like older books. Well, rare does not necessarily mean old, but for me, most of the time, or for in most instances where I found something, it has been pretty old. It can be older. Older, I mean like 80, 100 plus, 100 years old. But it does not necessarily have to be that old to be worth money. It could have been printed, a few decades ago, and still be worth money. But so it just depends on the type of book. Uh, but usually the ones that I've dealt with or have sold for good money have been a bit older. Um, and I'm just kind of getting used to, or learning more about it. So the level that when I say rare books for me, is a much, it's not, it's a much lower level in terms of, it's not really getting up there into the actual like rarest type of books out there. There are entire, uh, yeah, um, there's an entire, I can't think of the word, but not niche, but there's an entire rare book world out there on another level beyond what we do on eBay. Definitely not on Amazon, but on eBay. And I just saw this article the other day on Facebook. I'll show you. Called "Investing in Rare Books and All Your Questions Answered." Um, and this is a recent article, and the person talks about, you know, uh, starting a rare book collection and how to get that started, where to look for them, what types of books to look for, that type of thing. So there are rare book dealers. There's a lot of them, around. Uh, this is Palm Harrington of dealer Peter Harrington. But anyway, it jumps into it, and it's interesting to learn about books, about rare books, because I'm talking about books that, you know, not books that are going for a couple $100, but books that are going for thousands of dollars at a minimum, if not tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So these are the kind of books that are the most rare out there, that are much more difficult to find. That you're not going to find one at a thrift store. You're probably not going to find one at a garage sale. Um, you might find something like this at an estate sale. That'd probably be the most likely place. But these are just harder to locate, and I don't even really fully understand. Oops. Where people find these, but it's probably good to get a handle of what kind of books fall into this category. So here's some the three main um, factors to consider when you are looking for a rare book. Number one would be scarcity. Uh, Number two is desirability, and number three is impact in the world. So um, scarcity is pretty self-explanatory. It's just that there's not that many copies available for whatever reason. The more scarce it is, the more potentially valuable that book would be. If there's only, like for instance, that book that I sold, I think last year, it was a first edition signed copy of Thomas. I can't remember the title of it, but it was a pretty rare hardcover book signed by him in great condition that I found in a Gaylord of all places. So you can find these books randomly, but it's unlikely you'll find that many that way. But I put it on eBay for like a while for $500, and then someone offered me $350, and I took it. Um, and that book was scarce. I mean, I think there were only like one or two other copies that I ever saw on eBay. I had one of the very few copies. I think there's maybe like two or three, and they were pricing them much higher. Some of them were, I think, up to like $1,000 where they were pricing them. So that book was scarce because there just weren't very many, not only first edition copies, but also signed first edition copies. Um, and so that had the scarcity, and then also desirability. Uh, what that means is that the book continues to have some sort of influence, which ties into impact in the world. So uh, it was important when it came out, or it was some sort of landmark book. Um, Important at least to, it could be to the general world, but also to whatever it, that niche it was in, or whatever it was speaking to. It had some sort of impact or whatnot on the world. So then it became desirable, and that desirability continued to continue on going forward. Um, so the book is sought after. Basically, the demand for it has not gone down over the years. If the demand for it goes away, then uh, if it's no longer desirable, it doesn't matter if it's scarce, because nobody wants it, right? You can't try and sell something if there's not an audience for it. That's kind of like book selling, or selling anyway, 101. But the book has to be scarce. It's got to be desired, and it's desired usually because it had some sort of impact in the world. There was something about it. Okay, all right. And it was either impactful in the world as a whole, or something just unique about it, that you couldn't find anywhere else, or that the author, if it was a work of fiction, had some sort of unique voice, or that type of thing. So, like Harry Potter, even though these books came out 20 years ago, or initially started coming out 20 years ago, there's a lot of very valuable Harry Potter books out there, and certain types of rare collections that have been created, that are scarce, that are highly desirable, because the books had an impact on the world. Hold on. Hey, no. Estoy haciendo mi programa. Ve de allá. Yeah, so those are three things to consider. Does it fall into those three categories? Then typically it's going to be a pretty, um, it could be a really valuable book. And then also the things to consider uh, that would make it valuable would be, of course, if it was a first edition, that goes without saying. The first edition is typically the most profitable one. Is it a first edition? Is it a first edition? If it's the first edition, if it's the first one to come out, and if there aren't that many, then typically that's going to be worth some money. Of course, the condition of the book, if it's in great condition, these are pretty self-explanatory, but the condition, of course, is very important if it's in great condition. And then the completeness of it. So there's certain books that might have come with something originally that might be missing, some sort of insert or something like that, or whatever it may be, whatever it is that made it complete. If you have all of the components of it, for instance, the dust jacket, right, for a hardcover, if it came with a dust jacket originally, versus you find one that's without the dust jacket, could still be worth money without it, especially if it's in great condition, first edition, it's scarce, it's desirable, etc. Desirability. But if it's missing that dust jacket, then it won't be worth as much money as if it had the dust jacket. So, of course, completeness is important as well. If you can ascertain what the complete state of the book would be. So those are things that will make the book more valuable for sure. Yeah, that's a good point that Brian makes. He says, "I wonder how many books of that value got thrown out accidentally." Oh, I'm sure tons of books all the time to this day on a daily basis are getting recycled, thrown out, abused. That people have no clue what they're worth. That's why we come along and we find these books and find out that they're worth some money. Um, so yeah, uh, I think this is really okay. So I think it's pretty interesting to get involved in this because as even if you never come across something that's some super high value book that is going for 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, $50,000, and there are books that go for those amounts, even much more than that, into the hundreds of thousands. Even if we never come across some, it's still good to have an eye for them, and to know what's out there, generally speaking, and to take your time with that. That's the difference between someone who just scans books with barcodes for resale on Amazon, which is fine, but also someone who does that and looks for older books, like I've talked about in past videos and streams, when I've been at certain sales, or even just going to, I'm talking about like a library sale, but also where there's other resellers scanning, but also wherever, if you go to an estate sale or even a thrift store, and you come across older books or ones that look like they could be collectible or rare, to take the time to look them up. It's usually going to be worth your effort. Well, if it's not worth, if you don't immediately find something, then it's still going to add to your knowledge base, so that going forward, you will have a better idea of what books to look up, and what might be rare or valuable, uh, and so that you're not, so that you can make more money wherever you are sourcing, basically. So I think it's just a good investment for um, for your book reselling business, if you're planning on sticking it out and staying with this for a long time going forward. And you can maybe even transition into rare books. It's just you have to get good at finding them, um, and placing, finding value. And there's a lot of sources online. I've just been looking at this article, and it talks about why you should consider investing in a rare book. It says uh, they tend to hold value. Um, uh, it says Here it says, for example, here I'll show you. Here at the top it says, for example, where does it say this? If you are attracted to the idea of collecting rare books, um, if you are attracted to the idea of collecting, rare books have had a steady track record with not many peaks and troughs, so peaks and valleys over the years, and they can offer a viable return on investment. So, for example, you could have bought a first edition Darwin's Origin of Species in original cloth 10 years ago, so just in 2010, for about, £70,000, which I don't know what that is in dollars. But anyway, today it would cost you around £225,000 for the same copy. You see similar gains for other seminal works like Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations. He's talking about a book that is... we could look that up. Let's see if that's So, Origin of Species. Actually, did I already find that over here? So look at this. On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural... Although this is from 1859, so... although no, I guess anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about here when it comes to this and whether that's a newer book or not. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, so he talks about the rare book market not being connected, for instance, to the stock market, and that there's not like an index for it, and that the value of rare books tends to hold pretty steady. Although when there is a downturn in the market in general, so for instance 2008, 2007, 2008, and now with the stock market tumbling and because of the coronavirus, people being out of work, etc., everything going on with that people might sell off a lot of books. You might be able to get books for a deal, but the value tends to still hold. The desirability is still there. The scarcity is still there. That doesn't go away. So those books are still valuable. It's just that some people they call it panic selling, I guess, where they're just, because of how the state of affairs are, they want to get cash. They're worried about their future, and so they sell off these books for less money, even though they're still worth more. So then you could buy something cheaper, and then in a few years, if you wanted to, you can sell it for more money. Yeah. This person says, we even had... Here, I'll show you. Since the COVID-19 outbreak, while we did have an obvious drop in walk-in sales, I guess they have an actual retail store, and sales from book fairs that have been canceled after an initial quiet period, our online sales are doing very well. We even had our largest sale to have originated from a social media post in the past month during the coronavirus lockdown, a sale of over £30,000 for an inscribed copy of Lady Chatterley's Lover. So the market is fairly insular and relatively insulated from standard economic shocks. So that's interesting to me that yeah, exactly. It's interesting how the rare book market is sort of insulated from, generally speaking, from the larger economy, because we're talking about, it's not... we're talking about items, and you can apply this to works, because these are works of art. People consider them to be works of art. So you can apply this to the same thing as like rare paintings that go for much more money than a lot of these books. We hear about all the time paintings going for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So it's kind of similar, that the value it's whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. And if it's scarce, and if it's desired, and if it had an impact on the world in some way, then that item is going to be very valuable, very sought after. And if it's super rare, hence rare book, then you can always sell it for money, even if society starts breaking down. And this is very cynical, but look at what's happening right now. It's so strange. It's very strange that a virus, uh, has done so much to the world, has such an impact on the world in so many ways of people losing jobs, stock market crashing, people being stuck at home, et cetera, et cetera. And as things start to reopen, that'll change. But that has not affected apparently the rare book market. People still willing to put out money for 30,000 pounds, whatever that is in U.S. dollars. Let's see, pounds to dollars. So what is it? What does it say? 30. So 30,000 pounds is 38,000 U.S. dollars. So $38,000 for Lady Chatterley book. um, so anyway, so that that's something to consider as well. So Brian says, imagine finding that in the wild. He's talking about that Origin of Species book. I'll probably have a panic attack. Have a panic attack and then buy the book and hold on to it and find a rare book dealer or something like that and see if you can sell it. So a little story, I don't know if it's a story, but just history of me, um, is this is before I started reselling books. So this is back in, how many years ago was this? This is about 10 years ago. I'm trying to remember exactly. The older you get, the more difficult it becomes to remember when things happened years and years ago. But I think it was about 10 years ago. I worked briefly for a auction house, and this was a company that was based on the East Coast, and then they moved out to the West Coast, and I randomly found the opportunity and worked for them briefly. They were a bit of a mess, but anyway, that's another story. But they had an auction house, and they would hold, I don't know if they were every month, but every few months they would hold auctions through through a website, and also they would do a phone bank. So they had like a list of clients, customers that had been following them for a long time, and they would either send out emails or post on a website of the kind of items they would have coming up for sale, so people would know what was up out there, so they could prepare to decide what they wanted to bid on. And these were auctions, right? These were all bid on, and they were all different types of items. So could be some books, could be some paintings, could be statues. It was all different random stuff. I don't think they're in business anymore, actually. But they were just one of many auction houses, and people would call in on the phone and they would bid, or we had an online thing going, and so people would be bidding online. Um, and so I saw how crazy bidding could get, and you know, the auction house would either they would own some of this stuff, or it would be consigned to them, so they would make their cut off of helping people sell it. So when you find this kind of stuff, you can go to a dealer or an auction house, and I guess there's two different ways to go about it. But if you don't want to try to sell it yourself, essentially. And that was an interesting experience, to say the least, that I got with them. Uh, there's a whole world out there, though. The guy that somebody actually bought into the company, who was a collector of paintings and other types of stuff, and he would spend tens of thousands of dollars on items. Often he's a lawyer, so he had money, and it was interesting to see the inner workings of that, and how that whole process worked. That's kind of an example of these type of things where uh, you can get into into the rarity of stuff. Here's a place. Here's one that's called Bauman Rare Books. They're in Las Vegas, New York, Philadelphia. Let's see, featured books. What's their lowest price book? Look at this. So there's 18 books. Among the Tragic Poets of the World, Frank Robert, Lines of My Hand. So this is from 1972, limited first edition, autobiography, $7,500. So this is their low end. This is their low end books. And by the way, this is rare books. Like these are featured. Okay. And then we have the first and rarest of all editions of the History of Cambria from 1584. And this is $12,500. You can just add it to your shopping bag, by the way. If you want to purchase one, feel free. This one is Wind in the Willows from 1908. First edition. I don't know what presentation copy means. Publishers, oh, I guess they were just presenting it to the world with publisher's presentation stamp on the title page. That one is $14,000. Leaves of Grass. Oh, Walt Whitman. I here with pen and ink append my name. One of only 300 copies of Leaves of Grass printed in commemoration of Whitman's 70th birthday. So it's from 1889. Boldly signed by Whitman on the title page. With 6 portraits of Whitman. That's pretty cool, huh? Oh, well, there's the actual book. No, it's nice. There's his signature portrait. Huh. They only show you, I love they only show you 3 photos for something that you'd have to spend, oh, come on, man. We'll go down here. That you'd have to spend $14,000 on. And then there's this Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. So $15,000. These are book sets. Okay, the Holy Bible, $15,000.
Daddy, otra vez. Yeah, the table is outside.
All right. Okay, come on. Perhaps the best produced. So this is the works of Shakespeare. So if you're ever looking for the works of Shakespeare, this is the one to find. Oxford, 1770 to 71, 15 grand. Wow. The culminating work of Eliot's later career. So T.S. Eliot. Wow, look at those. 100 Years of Solitude for 16 grand. Huh, from 1970. That's great. First edition in English, first issue. See, this is what I'm talking about of this is what I mean by impact in the world, right? This book is from 1970. But you guys have probably heard of it, right? 100 Years of Solitude from Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This book had a big impact on the world when it was written. It's been, there's tons of copies. You can find a copy of this almost anywhere. There's tons of copies, but that's why it doesn't matter that so many copies have been made. It's because it's had such an impact on the world. It's desirable, and this first edition in English is apparently rare, and it's inscribed by him too. It says it's inscribed by him. There you go. And because of that, it's going for $16,000. What is this? Home of the Blizzard. Douglas Mawson. Classic account, this is from 1915, of Antarctic exploration. I've never heard of that. Home of the Blizzard. Let's look it up. Let's just for fun look it up on eBay. What was the name? Mawson. Oh, see, these are not the old copies at all. These are ones that are not rare. Here's one. The Home of the Blizzards, 1915. Look at this one, first edition. Home of the Blizzard. So that's the other thing, guys, is Well, here. So this one they have. Oh, it's got that cover. Is that the same one? Let's see. Look at that. Look at how much similar that looks to this. First edition. Is that the same? It looks a little different, huh? So that's the thing, is I don't know the difference here. But it's actually inscribed. Inscribed. That's the difference. It's inscribed by him. This one clearly is not inscribed. Yeah. That's probably the big difference here. But anyway, I mean, this one legitimately can probably go for this amount of money. Let's see if it's actually sold on eBay. The old ones. Nope. That's the other thing, is a lot of this stuff you have to have the right market, right? I mean, eventually you might sell it for $900, but on eBay you can sell some books for a lot of money for sure. But that's just interesting to see the difference between, you know, uh, the knowledge base too, and you have to know what something is really worth. That's the thing about rare books, is you have to have a vast knowledge, um, which I'm assuming takes a lot of time to grow that knowledge, to learn about what's out there, why, how many copies are there of something, uh, is it really that rare if it's a first edition, that type of thing. It probably takes some time to figure that stuff out. Um, okay, this is signed by Mark Twain, Theodore Roosevelt, Andrew Carnegie. Wow, and numerous other authors. Okay, that's 18,000. The Black Stallion. Wow, Walter Farley. Extremely rare. First edition of the first novel in Farley's beloved Black Stallion series. Wow, for 22,000, huh? The Story of Ferdinand, Munro Leaf. This is a kid's book, guys. Inscribed by Munro Leaf. Huh. 26 grand. I'm curious. So, The Story of Ferdinand. Then what was the year? 1936. These appear to be the same book. Although, are these 1930s? Yeah, look at that. But I guess because it's inscribed, that's what makes it. But that just seems so absurd to me. $26,000. I don't know. Uh, Account of Chinese manners and customs. Okay, I don't know what that is. Thomas Jefferson. Well, that's. Look at this one. Henry David Thoreau. His writings from 1906. 20 volumes. Jeez, man. 37,000. But again, these are just their prices. These have not sold. Alex Tocqueville. First edition presidency copy. One of no more than 500 copies published, inscribed by Tocqueville in 1836. Wow. Here's the granddaddy here. With the kind regards of the author. So Charles Darwin, The Expression of the Emotions. Is there any copies for sale on eBay? Here's a few that have sold. One sold for $325, $113, $160. This one here, $208. So there's some that have sold for some good money, but nothing like this one. That's inscribed by Darwin on the front flyleaf. I'm sure that's why. Yeah, let's see. Well, also what I wanted to do is I looked at so I looked in the rare antiquarian and collectible books for eBay, the recent solds, just to kind of see what was in there. So here we are. I just put hardcover just to see, and we have Alex Haley signed review copy, went for a little less than 220. This cool looking thing here, Russian Slavonic Bible for $90. Oscar Wilde, 1907 hardcover for $195. That's excellent. Let's see. These are just ones that sold recently. Look at this one, Imperium Varange, 1963. Took a offer on that one for less than $200. Here's one, Mohawk Valley Ronald Welch, 1958, for $200. That's the thing about it, is you can find stuff like this. You can make some really great money on eBay with it. It seems like that the rare stuff, the super rare stuff, are just home runs, you know. They're trying to sell those for a ridiculous amount of money and basically get their, you know, make an annual salary off of one sale. $65. Ouch. But what I did do, hold on, let's keep going, see if there's anything else here that was really. So then I just sorted it though by highest, and then we get to see ridiculous prices here. Look, by the way, this is the same one, right? It's the same one. What is it, 20 volumes? Where did it go? Oh no, not that one. I assume it's 20 volumes. Limited to 600 sets. So they actually sold this on eBay. I wish we could know what it went for. And they didn't even show that many photos too. 20. So it went for less than that, but I'd be curious to know how much less. Because over here, they have it for $37,500. So, you know, it just depends on the marketplace. It depends on the people you have. Would you wait around for 37,000, or would you sell it for less than here, than the 27,000? I mean, what did he get? 20 grand, 25 grand, 18 grand? And look at this one, Dante, the Divine Comedy, first edition, 1502. Man, that is cool. Wow, look at how old the book is. It's amazing the book is still. Let's see if this person has other high value stuff. Yeah, look, they're just dealing with higher valued books, higher value books. Here, they're in Beverly Hills. Finnegan's Wake, James Joyce. Signed, limited edition, first edition. So this one we know sold for $12,000. So you can deal with rare books and sell them on eBay. You don't even have to go to you don't have to go to a dealer or anything like that. You can throw them up on eBay and just wait for the right person, excuse me, to come along. Who knows how long they had to wait to get these kind of sales, but that's just incredible. Christy Mathewson signed. Okay, a lot of this stuff is signed. It's first edition signed. or one of the two anyway. Oh, antique Bible. I don't know. Isaac. I don't know that. Isaac Leeser. So cool looking. And look at the rough shape it's in. Hmm. Oops. Yeah, just about everything by him is going for lots of money. So if you see anything by this guy with this name, you should pick that up for sure. Ben Graham Security Analysis. First edition, first printing. Wow. These are grand slams. Mary Poppins comes back. A lot of these they took deals on. Oh, look at this one. Gone with the Wind, 1936, signed. First edition dust jacket. Here's one. Look, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, first edition. Holy smokes. They only have one picture. You gotta love it. That's just the paperback? Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, here's photos. It comes with a little slip cover. Alcoholics Anonymous, first edition, first printing, 1939. I've sold a good amount of the Alcoholics Anonymous books, but I didn't know that there were ones that were worth so much money. So that's crazy. So if you see the red one here from 1939, you know you've really got something. Red cover. Hmm. Hunter S. Thompson. The cool thing about eBay is you can see things that actually sold versus other sites, like another one that people use, ebooks, but this doesn't show, as far as I know, it doesn't show what things sold for. I mean, look at this book. 292,000. Like, come on. Here's another one. These are, I just looked up the Origin of Species, but this one apparently, these copies are apparently super rare. 24,000. So I don't know if they're actually selling for these amounts, or if they have sold recently. That's the thing I don't like about other sites. The great thing about eBay is you can actually see what items have sold for. But AbeBooks is a resource that a lot of people use to find out what current going price for certain books is and compare that to eBay so you can price it if you're going to sell it on eBay. Let me know if you have any experience with AbeBooks, or you've heard anyone else that has experience with AbeBooks, and what, if they've sold stuff on there. So, wow, Alice in Wonderland. Look, excuse me. Wow. Another Alcoholics Anonymous. Man. And this one is signed. This one's Narcotics Anonymous, first edition. Plus, and it's a set. Interesting, guys. Have you ever seen this one before? Huh, I didn't know there was a set. Wow. Huh. So Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. Keep an eye out for those, the older ones. William Morris. Wow, I'm not familiar with these authors. William Faulkner, though. There you go. Sanctuary. This is a cool Bible. Look at this one. That's really cool looking, guys. I mean, if you saw that, I mean, if I saw that out in the wild, I would think, man, that's nice. I'm gonna buy that for sure. A lot of times you don't even need to look it up. You just know. And I would just know by looking at that. I wouldn't I wouldn't know that it would be worth this kind of money, but just the way how original it is and unique, Bibles can sell for a lot of money. Let's just put in Bible. Into antiquarian. Holy smokes. First edition Bear Bible, Spanish. La Biblia del Oso. Yeah, that is cool. Wonder how much they actually paid for it. That just looks super cool. Look at the writing. Wow. The artwork. I wonder if they have other types of items like this. Yeah, they only. Oh, come on. Look at this. What? By the way, what is the cut for eBay on that? They get a nice chunk of change. Look at this. Just ridiculous. 1611 antique King James pulpit. Holy Bible Gospels. Comes with a pulpit. Wait. It says can't afford 75 to 2,000 to 250,000 for an original 1611 King James Bible. Here's your chance to get an original 1611 for only 18,500, lowered to only 16,500. So it's a deal apparently. Good luck finding one in the wild. But these Bibles, man, some of these Bibles can go for crazy money, as you can see. So 1611 King James Bible. This one we looked at already. This guy, Isaac Leeser, has a lot of valuable stuff. I love that they put wow. 1609, 1610, first edition Catholic Old Testament. Excuse me. Oh, here's this one that we saw. This is 1548 Bible. It's in rough shape. This one was really cool looking. Sometimes the leather-bound Bibles have good value. Of course, not like these, but $40 to $90. Yeah, I think it's good to look at these outrageous prices. Realistic though, at these high-priced books, it's good to know what. I recommend looking at these occasionally just to know what's selling, what you can be looking for, keep your eye out for. Certain Bibles, certain authors, that type of thing. I just learned that Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, older copies of those from 70 years ago, whatever, can go for great money if you can find one. I didn't know. I know that Alcoholics Anonymous book I've sold several times, but the newer version, and those even can go for good money, either on Amazon or on eBay. I mean, good money. I mean, less than $100, not these thousands of dollars. But I think it's good educationally for your knowledge base to learn about these and see what is actually selling. And because you just never know. I mean, you're out there looking for books anyway, so you might as well learn about the older ones, the collectible stuff, because you can find. I mean, I found. Remember the book that I sold, and I think I shared it. Yeah, I did share it with you on one of my first early streams, um, first week or so, that I had sold that book. It was Bullfinch, Thomas Bullfinch, and it had a really cool cover and spine, embossed and whatnot. And I had bought it at a library book sale for $1, and I sold it for $82 on eBay. So it should be in here. Where is it? Oh, huh. I don't see it. But anyway, um, yeah, I got it for $1, and this was at a library sale where there were 10 other resellers, 8 other resellers, whatever, while I was there, and they just completely skipped over it. It was from 1911 or 1903 or something like that. Uh, and it was an old. It just looked really cool, and I couldn't find anything about it when I looked it up really quickly. But I figured, whoa, for $1, I mean, it's worth it, and I ended up selling it for $82. And it didn't take that long to sell. Excuse me. Wow. And when you go to libraries, a lot of times you will find some of these older books. They were donated, or maybe the library had it on their shelves for a while. Uh, and you should keep your eyes open for that stuff, because there can be a lot of value in those older books for sure. It's always surprises me the amount of people that just want to quickly find books just by scanning them, and aren't willing to even put in the time to type in ISBNs or to type in the title to look for items. I know a lot of people just do Amazon. I understand. I was just doing Amazon in the beginning. I was one of those people, and I just slowly started to open my eyes to what was out there, and to see what you can find beyond just selling on Amazon. Speaking of Amazon and FBA, yesterday I finally got out all those books that I had. Not finally, it hadn't been that long, but I had gone through all my donations from the past month that I have received, and I've scanned all of them, everything, organized them, and pulled out what ended up being 89 books, and there were 3 CD sets in there, box sets, but basically 89 items, mostly books, and I ended up shipping them out, listing them and shipping them yesterday. All of them, 4 boxes, 3 Home Depot boxes, those normal size boxes where you can fit a good amount of books in there. Keep it under 50 pounds, and then a smaller box, because I got a split shipment on my last set of books, unfortunately, but I was able to finagle it to where I could send out all of them at once. I didn't have to hold anything back, because initially there were 3 that they wanted to split, and then I took those out, and created that shipment, and then did the rest of the books, and was able to get them all out, even though it was split. 18 books one warehouse and 9 books in another warehouse. But my main goal was just to get them out. So it was 89 items, mostly books. So 3 CD sets. So what is that? That's 86 books, 3 CD sets. And the potential profit is about $560. So that was nice. Those are off all the books that were donated to me. I had to pay for the ads, of course, but I got other books in there that I'm gonna list on eBay. I found a really valuable martial arts book that is going for over $100 on eBay that I will be listing probably next week, and some other good stuff in there. So, and stuff that I can sell locally in my sale. So anyway, it's felt really good to get those books out, to get more stuff to FBA, so I can get those numbers up on the other side of book selling. So I appreciate you guys watching. This is kind of a learning process for me, learning about old rare books, collectible books, it's interesting to learn about them and what's out there and what to keep our eyes open. So hopefully we both learned a little something today about this. It's a process. We could probably continue to make videos about this, talk about this some more. Tomorrow's Saturday, so I'm thinking tomorrow, if you're going to be tuning in, we're going to do like Q&A, just kind of open it up. Instead of just me talking, I want you guys to participate. So if you'll be here tomorrow, please come with questions. Please come with things you'd like to talk about, and we'll just do an open forum Q&A, and hopefully we can get enough people to come to do that. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna get out of here.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, we're flippin' live.
So this has been day 34 of Flippin' Live. 34 days in a row, guys. 34 days during quarantine. I've enjoyed talking about so many different things, interacting with you guys here in the chat, and just trying to provide, some place to depend upon here during these times. Today, it's 8 a.m. here. At 9:30, I have to be meeting somebody to pick up a book donation. They claim, they could be right, you never know though, they claim they have 300 books to donate to me. They said they're in good condition. I have no idea what they are. I don't know if they're fiction, nonfiction, or what, but I've been getting contacted these last few days from people to set up or to donate books to me. My ad is ending today, my Facebook ad that I've been running for a month, and it's been great results. Not only have I had lots of books donated to me, and I've had books now that I can send into Amazon FBA. I have books I found for eBay, books that I can sell locally. And also I've grown my Facebook page, so it's all been good. It's been worth the investment of money into that ad. And I have my sale. I'm going to have a local sale here in 2 weeks from today. I will have it on June 19th. That day I'm probably not going to be able, if I'm still doing the live video, I'm probably not going to be able to do it that day. I might have to miss that one because I will have to be there about 7 to set everything up. So anyway, it's either going to be a 6 a.m. video or going to have to skip it for the day. But anyway, that's another day. But today I'm going to go pick up 300 books, so I'm excited about it. Hopefully there's some great books in there, and we'll see what happens. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I will see you tomorrow. As I always say, keep booking and stay safe. Take care.